What's up, like Nostalgia? Dave here with a review of Mark's debut solo album, The First Fruit. Mark Lee, of course, one of the busiest men in the K-pop business, super famous at this point, a NCT member on SM, and specifically within that, he's a key member of NCT 127, the face of NCT Dream. He was also one of the youngest members in SM's supergroup Super M. Guy's been quite busy, and he's still only 25 years old. And Mark is certainly one of the NCT members who's established their own identity and their own fandom, which is not the case for everyone in that group, just given how massive the ranks are. We're just a few weeks removed from 10's solo, 10 of course of NCT and Wavy, which I liked quite a bit. And I also like this Mark solo quite a bit as well. Maybe we're up for a great year for NCT solos. Mark Lee's long-awaited solo album, The First Fruit, does a great job at establishing Mark's identity and is a interesting and involved enough album to really communicate his solo artistry, despite the fact that he remains one of the busiest members within the NCT umbrella. Mark, of course, has been known for his rapping, and I think he does a great job of that on this album, differentiating his flows, more throwback sounds, more upbeat, faster flows. He's giving you a lot there, and thankfully the production on this album is quite varied, quite involved. There's some throwback stuff like on 1999, and Mark's singing, I think especially on songs like Raincouver, comes across quite well. This is an album that I think has a lot of consistent themes within it. Mark openly talking about his faith and his dreams and his relationship with his family throughout this project. What makes the album so fun, though, is that he's giving you a lot of really enjoyable songs to revisit, and those songs really run the range of tempo, vibe, energy, etc. I thought this was really impressive. Honestly, there's a lot packed in here. I think most of it works. Some of the slower stuff towards the end I didn't really care for too much, but I think a lot of the early tracks are just some great highlights. And, I think you get the first glimpse of this album actually having some strong themes to it on that first track, Toronto's Window. Of course, Mark a Canadian. Toronto's Window, it's this really nice acoustic, spoken intro track in English, speaking about his dreams, his faith. I think it's actually like kind of really like soul bearing type thing. A lot of those like more spoken intros, they're usually a bit more vibey, a bit more vague. There's like not that much actually said. The lyrics are pretty sparse usually, but this was almost more of like an open essay, almost like reflecting on himself. It was pretty nice. Then you get into like the lead track, title track, 1999, which is an interesting one to me because it's a groovy song. It's a jam for sure. Kind of gives you like an old school rap verse in terms of like flow. Again, trying to allude to like 90s cadences and stuff. It has this very jubilant outro, and to me, that's where the song really comes together the most. I think comparing this song to other stuff later in the album, it's actually kind of far down my rankings, so to speak. So that makes it curious. That's the first lead single for this project, just because I think there's better songs later. But I think it's interesting enough, and the throwback vibe I think holds the song together in the end. Flight to NYC is a brief interlude that is equal parts electro and equal parts piano. So I don't know, kind of a interesting switch up, I suppose. Then we get to Righteous, which is a highlight for me. You have these like doubled vocals, like chant vibe at the start. Then you have the beat drop. You go into that hook, and these verses, rap verses from Mark, are just a lot more aggressive than they are on 1999. And I think production-wise, like the electro synth line that kind of carries you through this song, I think it's just all right. Maybe the beat's a bit too involved for me. Some of the autotune on the pre-chorus, I think actually like sounds really cool. Mark vocally, I think, runs the whole range when it's really just his vocals, autotune, various rap flows. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, we get my favorite song on the project, which would be Fraxia? Fraxia? Hard one to say. Featuring Yoongi, of course. And this song is just fire. I mean, you have the horns drop, fast flow from Mark, and then you have a Yoongi feature, which, of course, means she's rapping. And as we know from Yoongi, who's really exploded in like just the last few years, her rapping ability is among the best in Korea, especially on the female side right now. I mean, and what makes her stand out so much is that she has this incredibly deep, rap voice. I think of when she performed Twice's Strategy live with them, a few months ago, and she was rapping Megan Thee Stallion's feature on that song, and she was like obviously so good at it. It's really cool to hear her on a song like this, and I wish more K-pop artists that are rappers and doing K-pop rap would bring in someone like her on their projects, just because she has like true rap bona fides. And I think Mark, to his credit, holds up his end of the bargain on the song. But she sounds really great. I mentioned Vancouver, one of my favorites as well. Have these kind of like up tempo keys, then the softer singing from Mark. Bass does drop, and overall just really smooth. You get this horn solo at one point, almost as like a cappella, like stripped down part, but then the beat drops in again. I think the Mark singing on this really works, but ultimately like the production is excellent on this track. Loser, you have this a cappella strumming over this, pretty solid, nice kick drum. I like the way the song swells at the end. Then we kind of get to like a slower section. I thought Watching TV was just okay. 82 Pressing, though, with Chan of NCT, his label mate, bandmate. That one's kind of fun. Chemistry is good, unsurprisingly. Chorus is strong. I like the whistle rhythm you get alongside those drums. Song's pretty solid. 200, the guitar's electric this time. I think for the most part, it's been acoustic to this point on the project. And then you kind of get this almost like breakbeat for the first time, which I wasn't really expecting in terms of like that like BPM range. Honestly, I think the beat just has a bit too much going on, especially because I think Mark vocally is just not matching what that beat is trying to do. Like that beat is just running so far ahead of where Mark is singing, and it just doesn't work for me. That's the type of song that like I never like a song like that. To be honest, just not my style. Journey's Mercy is another slow one. Didn't really care for. Then we get another interlude, Mom's interlude, which is just a conversation between him and his mom in Korean. And then the last track, Too Much, the kick drum sounds really nice on there. Still pretty lively for an outro track. But yeah, I think again, like there's a lot packed into this one. And I think Mark, there's been a lot of hype about him, a lot of fandom about him as someone again who's broken out within that NCT universe. And I think this kind of makes good on a lot of that hype anticipation because he's clearly a pretty involved artist and artistic person, as evidenced by the lyrical themes of this project, but also has the goods to, give you both capable and varied rapping as well as solid singing as well. So I was pretty much completely pleased with this. And again, I think between this and the 10 project from a few weeks ago, it's been a great start for solo records. So we'll see what happens. I know EXO's Kai has something coming out soon. I'm sure that'll be big. Let me know, though. What'd you think of Mark's debut solo, The First Fruit? What was your favorite song on it? Let me know. And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.